Hey, what's going on, YouTube universe? I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to watch this video. I'll try and keep it under an hour. We'll see. I'm just joking. I can't talk that long. So, about 3 months ago, 4 months ago actually, I was approached by someone that I had been preaching to on a regular basis for a few years now. We kind of have a good relationship going on, and I'm able to talk freely about him, about religion and our beliefs. We have some nice spiritual discussions. And so one day he approaches me and he says, "Man, y'all Jehovah's Witnesses, y'all gotta be struggling for money these days." And I just gave him a puzzled look and said, "What are you talking about?" And he told me about Watchtower versus Candice Conti. And I was kind of embarrassed. I didn't know about it. And he told me that this woman took the Watchtower to court and won. She ended up winning a total of $28 million. And I was embarrassed, first off, that I didn't know about it. And then second off, I was enraged. I was embarrassed because there are almost 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide, and they are encouraged and talked to every week, every month, that Jehovah loves a cheerful giver. True, no collection plates are passed around, but you bet your buns that the elders go up on stage and give a guilt trip to the congregation about the financial status. And so when that happens, the money starts flowing and the bills are paid and there's extra money and everything's good. Then the next month, same thing, another guilt trip. People will start shelling out money, bills are paid, extra money, and rinse and repeat. That's what happens every month. So people every month are giving money to victims of child molestation amongst the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I'm not saying Candice didn't deserve it. She deserved every last penny of it for what she went through. But these are donated funds that people are thinking is going to the publishing of magazines, the Watchtower and Awake magazines, brochures, tracts, Bibles, supporting full-time missionaries, supporting full-time ministers, and building kingdom halls, especially in lands where they don't have enough money to build a kingdom hall or a church, if you're not one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And no, they don't know that. They don't know that $28 million is going to victims because of the injustice, because of the stupid rule. And so that just brings up disgust in me right now. It's kind of hard to get through it, but so this young girl gets molested, and her family, when they find out, they take it to the elders, because that's what the elders are there for. They're there to protect the congregation and provide comfort and support. But what happens? They meet with the offender, and since there is not a second witness, they really can't do anything to him. And they base it on the scripture that there has to be 2 witnesses to establish a fact or a matter. And so what happens is they slap him on his hand, he gets demoted. An elder goes on stage and he makes an announcement to the whole congregation. So and so has been reproved and is no longer serving as a ministerial servant. And that's it. No one knows why. And so the parents, they don't know that there's a sexual predator in their congregation. Now the elders' responsibility is to protect the flock, protect the sheep. And I appreciate their responsibilities and trying to fulfill that, but you know what? I am my parents' or my child's best defense. I provide the best protection for them. And so when this brother gets the slap on the hand, and no one knows about it, it's the elder's responsibility to keep an eye on them. We're going to watch you, brother. You're not going to do this again in our congregation. Not in our congregation. And so they keep an eye out on them. The parents don't know, so they don't keep an eye out on them. Nobody knows. And what happens years later? He molests another child. Well, so much for the elders protecting the congregation. It's just a joke. And this young lady, they advocate for a change in policy. How many child molesters do this in front of someone else? How many rapists do this in front of someone else? It doesn't happen. So really, with this two-witness rule, it's a paradise for pedophiles, and it's sad that it is, because Jehovah's Witnesses believe they have the truth, and there's nothing wrong. We're not like other churches. We're not like the Catholic churches where they have these things going on and all they do is ship these pastors off to another church. But this is a huge problem. I've come to find out that this is not just a few cases. There are literally tens of thousands of cases worldwide where kids are being molested. The molester is not punished because there's not two witnesses, and then the parents advocate some sort of justice, and then they end up getting kicked out for being rebellious against the organization. And if you're rebellious against the organization, that's tantamount to being rebellious against God Himself. And so really it's perverted justice. There's no justice for the victims at all. They're not helped. They're not consoled. It's really sad. And so when this young lady finally had the courage to stand up to the big bad witch tower, she won. And glad for her. Let's round of applause. I mean, it took courage to do that, to go up against a big bad monster and win. And she deserved every penny, every dime, every dollar that she got. And it's just sad that it takes hitting the religious leader's wallet book for them to revise their policies against these kind of offenders. Because right after she was awarded $28 million and they had to pony up, there was a letter sent out to be read only by elders in all of the over 100,000 congregations worldwide about a new change in policy regarding these offenders. None of the everyday Jehovah's Witnesses, none of the rank and file, they don't know anything about that. And it's just a really sad situation. It's a no-win situation when this happens, and it really brought out these feelings of what happened in my family. And so it's really sad that this has to go on amidst such honest-hearted people that believe that the Watchtower, the Jehovah's Witnesses religion, will have their back when something like this happens. And really, the religion turns their back on them. And if they voice any displeasure, anything like that, they're the ones that are chastised. and some of them are kicked out of the congregation. So it's really perverted justice in my mind. And then for the people that are donating money, they don't know that a lot of that money is going to settle cases like this, because it's just a retarded, stupid rule. And so anyways, I said I was going to talk an hour about this, but I really don't want to talk an hour, because it's sickening and disheartening. But this was the first video. So after I'm done reading Candice Conti, and then I start reading about all these other sexually abused children, and how it was basically swept under the rug and nothing really happened, no justice, I come to see that this is a real problem. And Jehovah's Witnesses are no different than the Catholics with their sexual abuse. And even in the early 80s, one of the leaders was a homosexual, and had a love affair with a young man there that was working, 19 years old. What happens to him? Nothing. He gets reassigned. He had to step down from his leadership position. And meanwhile, out of guilt, this 19-year-old man jumps out of, I don't know what story he was on, he jumps out the window and dies, because he was basically raped by one of the leaders. And this religion and sexual abuse, pedophilia, rape, it's just, there's no justice for the victims. And the God that we worship says that he would give justice, and he would be there for those. And this religion is definitely not providing that. And not only that, donated funds are being paid for this, which is really ridiculous, because none of these people that donate have a clue about that, and they should. 8 million people are given their hard-earned money, and they don't know where it's going. They think it's going somewhere, but really it's going somewhere else, and that's not right. So I'm going to end this video one on that note. This really got me looking into other sexual abuse cases, and then it led to video number 2, money fraud amongst the Jehovah's Witnesses.